Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of Chiefs Focus First and 10. You are here on a beautiful Thanksgiving week with JP Caleb, and we got a special guest on. We got Brandon, our stats guy, our stats guru, on to give us his input, his insight about how the season's gone, how we're progressing, how badass this team is, and how we're just going to continue to move forward. What's up, Brandon?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, man.
Good. How you doing, man?
Caleb? How you doing, buddy?
Good. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Brandon, for coming on. We appreciate it, man. You've been doing some work this last season, man. A lot of check marks. I've noticed your work, man. So you're picking it up. Thanks, man, for coming on. We appreciate it.
Hey, it's fun work.
It's a lot of fun. You've been working your butt off, man, and we really appreciate it. You've outshined a lot of people out there and it's cool because, you look at a lot of people that put up stats and they put up, a lot of people can do stats, but you do it in a different way that most people don't. And you get noticed, and that's a good thing. It's a great thing. You're getting noticed by people that other people aren't getting noticed by. And that's
the Troy Hawkins one was pretty cool. I can't
that
lie.
Was really
that
awesome.
Was pretty sweet.
That was pretty sweet. And he's actually ended up being a very nice guy. And we ended up having some stuff in common. Me and him chatted, and the next thing you know, he's following us. So we're all following each other, and it's an awesome thing. So he's a good dude. And he's got a really cool 67 GTO that he built similar to the one in Triple X. And given my business in classic cars, and I have a GTO myself, I'm a big GTO fan. We just ended up hitting it off, and he started in baseball roughly about the same time, but he lasted a lot longer than I did. So we chatted up for about an hour and a half, and the next thing you know, man, he's one of our fans, and we're definitely his fans. So it was great to have you do that, and you brought it in, so you're the one that did that. You've had Tyrann Mathieu, you've had a lot of guys that have noticed your stuff, and we really appreciate what you've done. So anyway, with that being said, what do you think so far, bro? What do you think of this season?
It's kind of what I feel like every Chiefs fan thought. The beginning was all offense, no defense. Then we went through that little spell where the defense was better, the offense was just okay, and then now the defenses, they're legit.
Yeah.
Offense is still struggling a little bit. I know they'll work out of it, but the defense, I haven't seen a defense like this in years.
Yeah.
They are just insane.
Yeah. This is Derek Thomas time defense. This is what this is. This is what it is reminding me of, is when Derek.
I mean, that D-line is scary with Jones, Ingram, Jaron Reed's showing up each week, getting his name called in the good ways, not the negative ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also add to Frank Clark, man. I mean, at the beginning of the season, it looked like, where did he go? And all of a sudden, he looks like the DT, the second coming out there. I mean, the strip sacks. I mean, he's coming off the edge, man. It's crazy to see. But I really think oh yeah, man, exactly. I really think though what turned this defense around was getting Melvin Ingram. Adding that extra pass rusher was important because now on his first snap in the series, he got a pressure. And when I saw that, I knew this defense was back. When it dated back all the way to the Packers game, because he came off the edge like a crazy man and almost got a sack. Yeah. And that's helped our cornerbacks. Bro, the linebacker core, I mean, Brandon, you put out stats. Nick Bolton and Willie Gay are the future. They're like Derek Johnson, it seems like, out there, just the way they've been playing.
Yeah, I believe Nick Bolton actually leads rookies in tackles, and then he leads the whole league in tackles for loss. That was going into the last game. I haven't completely checked recently, but he's been an animal.
Yeah.
And you think about how good Micah Parsons has been, and Bolton's been even, you could say, better. Parsons has more sacks, but Bolton's been all around. He's an animal. 79 total tackles, 11 for loss. That's insane.
That's crazy talk. I mean, that's crazy talk. It really is. And the fact that, Caleb and I have brought this up so many times on the show, and people, they slammed everybody on, as far as the secondary was concerned. But, it's kind of like a domino effect. And we've brought this up, and I'll bring it up again because, you're on the show and I'm sure you'll understand this. When your defensive line breaks down, your secondary jumps off their assignments because they have to. They don't have a choice.
Yeah.
They fall off their assignments, then everything else breaks down. They're not covering their man. They're trying to cover somebody else, and then things just fall apart. Well, now that you've got, you got Chris Jones back on the inside where he belongs. Jarran Reed was getting a lot of flack because he had no help, similar to what happened with Frank Clark prior, because he really had no help. Chris Jones really had no help during a period of time last year. Didn't have a lot of help. Now you got a complete defensive line that is from one edge to the other. They're all doing their job. So when that happens, now your secondary is able to stick to their assignments, and they're all gelling and they're all flowing correctly. And when that happens, with the exception of maybe one player, and even honestly, if you look at Neiman, he's playing better, which is a scary thing.
He's playing a lot better.
Playing a lot better. They've moved Sorensen to where he really belongs. He's not great in a red zone man coverage, trying to stop, a wide receiver from getting in the end zone. That's just not his forte. But you put him in the middle and in a blitz situation, he's great. He does his job.
Mm-hmm.
In a spy situation, he does his job.
He does a really good job at that.
Oh, great.
That's what he needs to be, instead of trying to have him as our second safety out there. Is
correct.
In coverage is not great, but if you can use him as more of a linebacker, him and Neiman on those third downs have been really good, especially this past weekend. Our defense was dominant.
And it's so crazy because Caleb and I brought that up maybe 5 shows ago. We had said, in fact, I had said, he'd be great if we could put him in some type of a linebacker situation, like a rover in the linebacker situation. And I got a couple DMs saying, what do you mean he can't be a line? He's not big enough to be a linebacker. I'm not saying put him in as a linebacker, but in that area, in a rover position. And that's exactly kind of what they did. And he really shined. He did very well. He's doing very well in that position. And that's where he belongs.
Is there a particular play that stands out to you?
When we were running all those blitzes in Green Bay,
mm-hmm.
During the Green Bay game,
mm-hmm.
he was basically in the middle for the most part. And he was
mm-hmm.
playing that sub, linebacker position in a lot of those blitzes. Mm-hmm. And he was just an animal. Boom, right up the middle. His speed showed. He was able to get skinny and get between everybody. And he was on top of people left and right.
And we know he can hit.
And he can hit. He's not scared to hit.
No, he can hit.
Yeah. And he puts himself out there. So, yeah, you put him out in coverage on man, he's not going to do it. It's just not his forte. It isn't. But, and there's times that, he's been lucky and he's been in the right position and he's gotten a few interceptions. And I know Spags' mindset, look what he did for us before, but those were few and far between. Now he's in a position where he belongs. And I think it's really helped our defense tremendously. Look, dude, we just shut out the number 1 offense in the NFL to 9 points and no touchdowns.
The only touchdown they had was landing back down in Dallas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Throw that out there.
Nice.
The only time you touchdown on Sunday.
Zinger.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Brandon speaking facts right there.
There you go. So, to do something like that just tells you that, and with Tyrann Mathieu, I got to give it to the guy. He woke up at 5:00 in the morning, said his knee was swelled up. He did have work on that knee prior and showed up 4 hours early, wanted to make sure his knee was okay, got work done on his knee, made sure the medical staff cleared him, went out there and played like an animal.
He didn't play like he was hurt. I'll tell you that. He was bouncing around. Tyrann Mathieu, one thing they think is kind of crazy to see him come as an edge rusher off a blitz. He's like moving around so quick and sometimes able to get around the defenders. And it's crazy because you're like, Tyrann Mathieu's not that tall, but the way he moves and what he does, he seems to be like 2 defenders in one, it seems like.
He really
and he does a lot of jumping with it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
He confuses
them. Is hopping as he goes with the speed, which is just impressive.
Yeah. His lateral moves are crazy. Especially in the middle of a run. He's in the middle of a full speed sprint and just somewhere out of the nowhere laterally just goes sideways. And it's like, how do you do that? He's very, very agile. And he's only 5'9". He's not a tall guy. He's 5'9", 200 pounds, maybe 195.
He might be
pounds.
6
He hits like he's Zion size, though.
Exactly.
Oh, yes. Yes. Tyrann Mathieu is whenever the Chiefs picked him up, I was like, the culture has changed for our defense. When we picked him up that offseason, I was like, yeah, this is important, because having Tyrann Mathieu, and I don't understand this, I've noticed there's a lot of haters out there, more specifically Broncos and Chargers fans, but that's a whole nother issue for another day. But they say he's too loud, he's too this, he's too that. Tom Brady smoked his behind. I'm like, look, the last time I checked, Tyrann Mathieu, when he's came on this team, he has made your guys' teams look pretty bad. Yeah. His defensive play, he's the quarterback of the defense. And I don't see him going nowhere else. I think he'll retire as a Chief, because the way the team is playing now, bro, I'm telling you right now, hypothetically, if the Chiefs can go undefeated, go into the playoffs, go through there, win the Super Bowl, and if we can re-sign every single guy, get Frank Clark to restructure, get Melvin Ingram to sign back, Jaron Reed, get some good draft picks, I'm telling you right now, man, that defense will be top 10 next year, because I noticed every time the Chiefs play, the first 8 weeks, they struggle. I do not know why. It makes no sense. But I feel like the intensity will be there if they can keep it up. And I think that's going to be very important moving forward. But seriously, the way this team plays, they're a brotherhood. And adding Tyrann Mathieu is just very beneficial in the day.
And he's going to have a gold jacket one day. So that's
for sure.
That's the kind of
he's
going to
go in as a Chief.
And all the other teams hate him because they don't have him.
That's exactly it.
Gold jackets, safeties in their secondary. If anybody, I loved him before he came to the team, but as soon as we got him, I knew he's a culture changer.
He really
is.
Sure.
And he came in and he changed our culture.
Yeah. I remember watching him at LSU, and now I'm like, wow, the guy I really like watching at LSU just joined the Chiefs. This is surreal. I mean, seriously.
His college highlight tape is crazy.
He is a great punt returner. I mean, they're not going to do it, but he's shifty, he's fast, he knows what he's doing. Yeah. It's just crazy. That's all I'm going to say there.
It's insane. I mean, to watch the guy go out there and just every week in and week out, bring every bit of his energy and every bit of his heart, his intelligence. He's without a doubt the most intelligent secondary player I think I've ever seen. I don't think there's another secondary player I've ever seen, safety, corner, whoever you want to bring out there. I don't know if there's been a better or more intelligent player. And he reads plays better than anybody I've ever seen. His vision is there, and his insight and his just everything he does is just absolutely amazing to me. He sees things before they happen. And that is something that is extremely rare in this league, in any sport for that matter. It's just phenomenal to me. I watch it, and he reminds me of Mahomes on the defense, because Mahomes sees things before they happen. And that's similar to, I mean, it's basically what you have to have when, safety. Caleb and I talk about this all the time. The cornerback position, the safety position is the hardest two positions to play in football, because you have to, especially now, you're not allowed to do the things. And JJ Burden and I have talked about this so many times. In fact, we talked about it on the show when he was on. It's not like it used to be, DBs were able to just blast a wide receiver, blast anybody they want to, step on their face, step on their hands, kick them on the way by, spit on them, whatever they wanted to do. And it was all okay. Now, if you look at them the wrong way, you point at them, God forbid, it's a taunting, whatever it may be, it's a flag. So you're not only watching footwork, you're watching the quarterback's eyes, you're watching 2 or 3 wide receivers, you're watching a running back, you're watching everything that has to, and you're playing a second team in the referees. So to be able to go out there and try to stay penalty free and continue to play at a high level, that's the hardest position to play in football. And these guys do it day in and day out. Charvarius Ward, in my opinion, and I've said this, Caleb will tell you this, he's been, in my opinion, one of the best cornerbacks, most underrated cornerbacks in this league since he became a corner, since he was drafted. And people have slammed him because he's not an interception king. Doesn't matter. He keeps people out of the end zone. He knocks a ton of passes down. He keeps, I don't know, his stats better than I do, Brandon, but I don't believe he allows very many yards, and I don't believe he allows very many first downs. And I don't know how many touchdowns he's allowed, but it's very few.
I can pull that up.
Finally got his interception.
He's got 5 PD, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,